Alright, time for Halifax Transit ride here. Halifax, Nova Scotia. This is the 10 route. And they got an articulated Nova Bus. Alright, so we're on the 10 route apparently, so we're going to be going to downtown Halifax. We're in apparently Dartmouth right now. And I guaranteed that I would get one bus ride today on video, and that's what I'm doing now. So I was surprised to see a Nova Bus articulated LFS here in Halifax, and it's right now Friday, March 24th, 2023. It's 2:38 p.m. Maritime time. That's right, Maritime time, or Maritime's time. We're 1 hour ahead of Montreal time, which is in the Eastern time zone. So we're going to be going across this bridge in the distance, and we're going to be going into, I guess, downtown Halifax, where I'm going to be making my way to a park called Mount Pleasant Park. Some really nice buses here in Halifax. This is the second one I was on. I was on a regular regular Nova Bus LFS before from the airport. That flight was something else, my first flight ever. So I got the transit app on in the background, guiding me to where we gotta go, because this is all new to me. This isn't like Montreal where I know it inside out. I'm not saying I know every part of Montreal, but definitely know more than this. There's another articulated, and the buses here, the articulated, they're different in Montreal. They have that little bump on the front, on the top. I think it's an air conditioning unit. Montreal has the red signs for the stop request, and these have yellow ones. Of course, Montreal also has Pharmaprix here at Shoppers Drug Mart. So when I left Montreal, it was beautiful sunny weather. Came here and it's chilly. I had some wet flurries before, but I'm not going to complain. So I'm interested in seeing this bridge coming up. Oh, there's an ambulance there, EHS. I guess that's the local ambulance. So my plan was to walk across this bridge here. I think it's the Memorial Bridge it's called. But because it's windy and chilly, I decided against it, and I decided, I'll just take a bus ride. So this reminds me of the Jacques Cartier Bridge in a way, but not as high as the Jacques Cartier Bridge. Like these little houses down here, you can tell they're old. And there's, I guess, Halifax Harbour down there. Not sure what the name of that river is. That looks like an old building. There's an anchor down there in the water. Look at that. Very similar. Reminds me of Quebec City a bit. There's a Navy boat down there, Canadian Navy boat, I think. This is where I think the Halifax explosion happened. It was a munition ship during the war. World War II, I think, blew up. Yeah, there's Navy ships, Canadian Navy ships down there. Wow. You don't see them often in Montreal. There's even a helipad on those. Alright, so here we are, downtown Halifax. First time setting foot here.
Next stop, Macdonald Bridge exit ramp.
Halifax Shipyard. Whoa, that's I think that's a famous shipyard where they build the ships. Alright, so here we are, downtown Halifax. Gives me vibes of, like I said, Quebec City and Ottawa. Some kind of transmission on that truck, cool. Interesting way to stop a bus. Interesting stop. Yeah, so maybe we'll head down to the river later, check it out, but for now we're going to be going to Mount Pleasant Park, which, if everything goes as planned, we're going to be able to see the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. Nice bridge.
Next stop, Barrington Street.
Interesting voice announcements on these buses. I guess when you're so used to the STM ones in Montreal, anything else is foreign. Also the RTL, STL, used to them. Definitely an interesting city. I think there's a couple of new flyer buses as well in the fleet, the Halifax Transit fleet. I also like the seat designs. A couple of things to note though about Halifax Transit. You're not allowed food on the buses of any kind. You have to board the bus without any food or water or liquids, or they tell you to dump it out or leave it. Definitely not as big as Montreal.
Oh
yeah, I just want to make sure.
If I'm not mistaken, I think this is one of the biggest cities in Atlantic Canada, the Maritimes. hilly city. That's probably why it reminds me of Quebec City so much.
Next stop, Barrington Street before Duke Street, Bay 2.
Check my transit app here, see how many stops we have. 12 stops. Construction going on there. Oh, I think there's is that a new flyer? Could be a new flyer. I'm gonna try to take one of those later. There's a regular Nova Bus. So I think we're pretty much in the downtown core now based on what I see. So we have to keep an ear out for South Park Street. Then we're gonna have to walk to the park. Halifax Transit, oh there's the headquarters right there. That's their bus garage. Not as big as the STM garage. But then again, Halifax isn't as big as Montreal, so. I definitely like the colors of the Halifax Transit. I like the livery. Tell you what, we'll move up. Interesting thing about the bus is here's the license plate is in the front. LED light up there, and we have this emergency brake that we don't have in Montreal. Looks like we're stuck in some traffic here, so I'll pause the video for now. Yeah, we got a traffic jam with buses here. This is bus 722, by the way, registration number. Moving somewhat. Interesting, the display in the back, the LEDs have that white color. Some of them have white, some of them have yellow. I am impressed. I do like the transit system here in Ottawa. Oh, there's a Citadel up there. You know what? Maybe we'll go to Citadel after somebody suggested that on the Montreal Transit fan server, or Montreal Transit server. So there are a lot of buses, it seems, in Halifax, which is pretty good. The only issue I have is that bus that goes to the airport. It's not like the 747 in Montreal where it comes frequently. This one's once an hour, and it's a regular Nova Bus. It's not an articulated one. Oh, I like that clock tower up there. I'm gonna check that out. So we'll go to the park first, see the ocean. That's the priority, and then maybe we'll check out that historical area later. All right, closer to the window. There's a cool building, nice architecture. So I think this is as big as your buildings get here in Halifax.
Next stop, before Blower Street.
This area reminds me of Westmount and Montreal somewhat. Of course, Halifax doesn't have a subway or a metro system like Montreal does. Doesn't have light rail either, just strictly buses. Interesting buildings. I like the architecture. There's that LED light. That LED strip light. Barrington St. Before Spring Garden Road. Huh. Interesting name for a stop. A lot of churches here. Oh, I see a nice spot by the harbor to go to later too. So that's the thing. I'm only here till tomorrow morning. So I have to fit as much as I can in literally an afternoon and evening. But I got the most important thing. I got the plane ride here, and I also got a bus ride, and I'm going to be seeing the ocean soon at Mount Pleasant Park.
Road before Queen Street.
Check our app here. So we got 7 more stops to go. I might stop filming now, guys. I want to save my battery because it is important to save in this area. It's not like Montreal where I can just go home. There's wow, it looks like an old cemetery. Cool. That looks old. That looks ancient. Well, not ancient, but historical. I think somewhere in this city, I think where the Titanic Memorial is. Maybe we'll check it out too. Again, you can only fit so much into an afternoon and evening. There's the Halifax Memorial Library. So I'm going to cut the video for now, guys. At least you got a glimpse of what it's like to be on Halifax Transit Bus and the Nova Bus at that, articulated bus. And definitely more videos to come. Have a good day, everybody.